going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to RC Everyday. So, it's time to make some upgrades on my old Hilux. This is the RC4wd Trailfinder 2. It's the first one I ever had. I never had a kit. I pieced it together, buying piece by piece on eBay when I was broke back a long time ago. And it used to have those plastic T-Rex 60 axles on it, and yeah, it's had a lot of incarnations, but this is by far my favorite. And my old red body, I bobbed the back of it off a couple years ago, and was having a blast at USTE with this until the tire foams just disintegrated. Now, I have a theory as to what's going on with the tires. I took this truck, oh Lord, 3 years ago to Colorado, and did some running when I had my Blazer with Capex Scale Creations up at the Crawl Space South, back before we had Crawl Space South. But and the change in elevation going from Texas to Colorado, I didn't realize it till I got to his house and we started looking at trucks, that all my tires on beadlocks had ballooned. And I think these ballooned up so big, and yeah, I'm gonna get back down here and crawl on it for another couple years, and I think the foams just had too much space and they just deteriorated. It's just the foams that came in RC4wd. These are the Mickey Thompson Baja Claw TTCs. I do have one spare, and they are extremely too soft to start with. This one's never been driven on, and under the weight of this rig it looks like a flat tire. These are a massive tire, so they're going to need a lot of foam. So I've got some upgrades here, and I'm going to swap on the 4Runner body. I'm excited. I'm finally set on what I'm going to do with the 4Runner. I've bounced it around. I had it on my completely stock budget build Trailfinder 2. I had it on the RC Model X frame for a little bit, and I think this is the vision I had since I first got the 4Runner body. It was a little more serious of a crawler, and yeah. So let me tell you a little bit more about this. We'll take the body off, and yeah, I love this body. This is still one of my favorite bodies. It's got the CC hand door panels. I lost one of my mirrors. I made the roll bar. That was my first brazing. And the bumper I had on the rear too. But yeah, let me flip it over here. This truck is pretty seriously built. Just running the stock SCX 10 shocks, nothing fancy there. They work, they're dependable, they don't leak very badly. It is completely 4-linked in the rear, completely 3-linked in the front. I did that because I didn't have enough leaf springs all the same size at the time, so I bought a 4-link, or the 3-link for the front. And then I figured a little bit later I'd go ahead and 3-link or 4-link the rear, so it was, you know, fully linked. And it does change the performance of the Trailfinder 2 significantly. Not so much as scale, but it puts it on par with like an SCX 10 or something right out of the box. And I like it a little better because it's a little heavier rig, all the metal RC4wd uses. SCX 10s tend to be lightweight. They do have really good shocks on them now that really compensate for that, but I like the setup and it works. I've got the old first gen Bauhaus RC low profile skid plate, which has held up perfectly over time. Used that for 3 or 4 years, I think. You can see the rod's got some marks on them. We've got metal sliders, RC4wd, just a single bar rock sliders, which work great on the Toyota bodies. What else? Notice I got two different, the battery mount. The Trailfinder 2 typically has a U-shaped electronics tray. I have two of the Jalan 2 ones. Because for a long time, Trailfinder 2s were hard to come by when they first come out. And I was trying to piece this together, and the Jalan 2 had been out for a while. Those battery trays were available for next to nothing on eBay, so I got a couple of those to use instead, and it gives me a little more space for electronics as well. I'm still running the stock transfer case, stock R3 single-speed transmission. I've never had a 2-speed Trailfinder 2. It's just never, yeah. We've got the original Yoda 1 rear axle. There's nothing wrong with those, they work. And I think yeah, this is a Yoda 2. I've upgraded the front. The Yoda 2s have better hubs, better joints, and they look a little better in my opinion, but upgraded that so we have a little bit tighter steering. And we've got the rebuildable, no, these aren't rebuildable. We just got the version 3 RC4wd Punisher shafts on here, and I've not had any issue with them at all. But other than that, it's been kind of boring. So I got a knockoff Spectrum receiver. I had a little glitch eliminator in there. Old RC4 drive can motor, and got a decent Savox servo in it. So that's one plus. And I was running, I think I was running an RC4 drive Outcry ESC for the longest time. And I think I had upgraded it to an Axial AE5, my bad. I just pulled that out of there because I had a special bracket made to mount it right here, and it was in the way of the body. So we're going to upgrade this electronics wise. I do have some actual Spectrum receivers coming. These little orange ones were cheap. They were like $5 a piece. They work great, but changing them in and out of rigs a lot because I haven't had enough, the pins start pulling out of the circuit board. So, this one is held up well, but I'm going to go ahead and swap it over with the actual Savox one since they've gotten cheaper now, the 2-channel ones. I don't need anything else on this. This is just a rock truck. But I'm going to swap the ESC to a little Hobby Wing quick run. Run lipos now, and we will. This has a Dean's connector already on it. You can get these on eBay. The seller swaps them over to the T connector. They got them marked on there, and they're the same price as your regular Hobby Wings. They're like $15 or something shipped. They're not terribly expensive. I always buy 2 or 3. I've been swapping out everything I have lately. For the wheels, I got these BoomRacing. I bought these at USTE from RC Addict. I've always wanted to see him in person. He had 2 sets, so I picked them up, and I haven't been able to figure out what to use them on. I was thinking about using the 4Runner for the C-Max GCM Racing chassis that I bought, but I don't know. I'm kind of stalled on that. I'm running out of bodies right now, and I don't know what I want to do as far as a super scale dollhouse truck goes. I need to work out my crawlers because I want to get them ready and on point for USTE next year. Stay tuned. Check out USTE website and Facebook. They're going to start having schedules and stuff out, and hoping I'll get to teach a class. It's not. I don't think they have. It's supposed to be on Friday, I think. We're going to do a basic patina, how to do simple patina work, and it'll be fun. So stay tuned to that, and check out their site and follow Rob. He's a wealth of information when it comes to the event because it's his event. So I'm going to do these. I want to keep the same tires, and that's when it would come back to the ballooning problem I had. So I'm not 100% sure how stretched out these are. I've got a set of Crawler Innovations little Nova 155 foams. These are the tallest ones I could find I think these were 4 1/4. And they're just a little shy of these, but I'm hoping I can shoehorn all that great foam in there. I didn't talk to them. I just ordered straight off their website. Got here in 2 days. And they sent me a bunch of stickers and this cool, they call it a cell block. I've never seen one before. It's made to set your rig on while you're working on it. Just a thick block of foam. Said free gift on it. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'd share that with y'all. I've been wanting like some kind of crawler stand, because my tires are flat spotting from sitting in the shop. And most of the little spinny ones and stuff are like $20-$30, and they just seem kind of cheap, and this seems like a very inexpensive alternative, very durable. So you'll be seeing that around the shop here. But I was really impressed with how fast their shipping was. I've only had a set of their foams one other time. Usually I don't drive my rigs enough to wear out the foams, but we're getting there. So I'm hoping to swap those onto these tires if these tires have some issues when we take them apart. The beads are ripped, or they're just too thin. They should be all right. We just need to shove some more stuff inside of them. But with the 4Runner body and the black wheels, I think it's really going to look good. One issue we're going to have, this front bumper. This is the RC4 drive ARB bumper. I've had it forever. I've modified the mount so that it fit flush against the Trailfinder 2 Mojave body. And I've mocked it up with the 4Runner, and it doesn't line up at all. It needs to be mounted higher, and I need a different actual bumper mount, and then I would have to probably cut that one down as well. RC4 drive bumper mounts came, I think, in 3 different heights. You had pretty much just a flush bar, a dropped one, and then a further dropped one. And I think this is the middle drop length. It's like a half-inch drop. So maybe I've got a ton of Jalon 2 parts sitting around. I'm hoping one of the Jalon 2 front bars, bumper mounts, will work. It just depends on the alignment of the bumper holes. And also, another issue that we're running into, let me spin this around and show you. The body is slightly bigger than the Mojave. So our bumper is not wide enough, and I don't plan on trying to lengthen it, but we've got these little kickbacks that wrap around the side of the Mojave grill, and they go underneath our marker lights. So I'm probably going to chop those off, and we'll just flat black it and roll with it. But we're going to have to clearance the fenders. You can see here at just about full droop. There's not a lot of space. Just going to widen it up as minimal as possible. The same thing I did with the red Mojave body. Tried to keep it as tame as possible. Keep as much of the metal. I wish it was all metal. As much of the plastic as we can keep. And I don't want to change the look of the truck. I want it to still look like a street drivable truck, just fully linked on 44s or something ridiculous. But yeah, so I'm going to keep the top on it. I want to keep the full interior. I want to keep the doors, the hood. I want to keep all the works. I just want to deck it out with a better chassis and get it out at USTE next year and have some fun. So there was one more thing I can't remember. Oh, body mounts. This body being wider than the Mojave, we're going to have to lengthen our body mounts. So I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do that yet, because to remove the body post on a Trailfinder 2, you pretty much have to either cut the heads of the screws off inside the frame rail or split the frame rails in half, pull one side off the other, so you can get in there with a screwdriver and pull those screws out from the inside. And one of the screws for the body mounts is shared with the transfer case mount. So your transfer case has to come out to pull those out. So it's going to be a pain in the butt, but running a LiPo, we're going to save some space, so we need to move some stuff around, put the speed controller back. I had it up here. We're going to bring it back here, probably next to the battery, because it's a little tall. The 4Runner floorboard is sticking up, or sticking down lower than I expected. But anyway, I feel like I'm running my mouth dry here. We're just going to get to work. Alright guys, got some progress made. So the bumper thing didn't work quite as I'd hoped, but it works. The Jalon 2 mount went on. The holes look the same, but they're off by like 1.5 millimeters. So I just drilled the bumper holes just a hair wider, and I got it to fit on there. I chopped the ends of the bumper off. I'm really not even worried about painting it. It's aluminum. It's not going to rust on me. We'll cross that bridge towards the end here. I want to tackle these tires because I need to know if I need to order some more. And these really, there's not much. I've never seen tires so soft. There's just not much left of them at all. The foams ripped coming out, but they're pretty consistent. They're not really, well, it's hard to tell there because it ripped. It feels softer on that side, but not amazing. But yeah, the wheel and stuff, everything's fine. Hardware's a little rusty, but we'll save them and use them again another day. The wheels look nice. They have some natural patina on them, a little bit of rock rash and stuff, so definitely won't be getting rid of that. I've got a pile of these 155 white wagon wheels from RC4wd from all the kits that I've had over the years and all that. So looking at this, I'm not sure if these foams are going to be tall enough. They're not any bigger. They're wider than what we had, but they're not any taller. And that's a problem. And I looked on their website. People selling these on eBay had them listed with height. You could get 155 inner diameter at 4.5, 4.25, 4 inch, stuff like that. And then on actual Crawler Innovations site, didn't really have that. I think they had 4.5 and 4.25. So I'm not sure how this is going to work. The last set of tires I had, I bought, let me rephrase that. I bought some used tires on eBay, and they had some Pitbull growlers on them, 155s, and I took them apart, changed the wheels once I got them, and they had these as a center, and they had this around the outside. They had just regular foam shoved in there. I don't know how that would work, if that would even be enough. It had 3 different kinds. It had this hard foam, it had this soft foam, and it had gray foam. So they work great. I love the tires on the trail. It gives them a really nice compound. They're firm enough to hold up the weight of these heavy trucks, but still soft enough that they hook on the rocks. So I'm going to play with some different combinations with this, and yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute. The body mounts. I solved that problem real easy. I've had it forever. I never used it. It's the RC4wd Trailfinder 2 body lift. And stock body post for the Mojave, just the plastic ones. None of the stuff that comes with the Blazer, none of the stuff that comes with the 4Runner. They've got all this extra plastic stuff that goes on them. It has body clips, and it has a thing like this that moves. These are aluminum, and they just screw straight in. It gives you 2 different heights to mount it. So the bumper being raised, that's the only other option I've got. It's either too low or it's just a hair too high. So I use these body mounts, and I can mount it to the lower mount of the 2 on here. It fills in the extra width of the 4Runner body perfectly, and it moves the bottom of my grill perfect parallel with the top of the bumper. And I still got room for the winch, and everything drives just nice up front. So other than cutting the ends of the, whatever that was, $80 bumper at the time, other than cutting the ends of that off, it's going pretty good so far. I've got these BoomRacing wheels. I'm kind of having second thoughts. Nobody's really going to run a hubcap on a rock crawler, but I think it looks cool, and I think the black smooth wheel is going to look better on here anyway. So I'm going to give it a shot. I've just been dying for a reason to open these up, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So I'm going to play with this one here for a minute. Oh baby, I got so excited putting this on there just to see what it looked like. I forgot to even put a wheel nut in there. The design of this wheel is phenomenal. The way the center cap isn't just a screw-on wheel nut. That's what I was afraid it was going to be. It's actually a whole disc that fine threads into the actual wheel itself. These are not stamped wheels. These are aluminum machined. And everything is fit and finish on them. It's fantastic. It even has a little scale chrome valve stem on them. I mean, how cool is that? I think it's going to look good. I shoved that whole foam inside of there. I think I need to take it back apart and do a little finessing. I just really wanted to mock it up for tonight. And it's a little lumpy, but I think they're going to work. These dual stage foams from Crawler Innovations I think that's going to be pretty good. It gives us the support we need in the center, and that's full squat on the soft part of the foam. Well, it's going to allow these soft tires to just really bite and wrinkle and flat spot. But I just threw some body mounts on this side, or screws through the body mount, so you can see the bumper, maybe if the black will show up on the camera, how it sits on the body. And I'm pretty happy with how that is. I can't really move it back any further because the winch will be, we're out of space. But yeah, I'm going to sort out the tires and wheels, get the rest of them put together and mounted. I really like that. Just the quality. I mean, this is the tool to take the cap out, and it's just really high quality stuff. I don't even know what all this is. I mean, I could do it by hand. It's got a thing in there to put screws in. I don't know what you would do that for, unless there's something different on the other set of wheels. But that's a really nice design, and there's only 5 screws that hold the beadlock together, and they're a little bit longer, and they're all spread out. They're not crammed in the center of the wheel, and they're on the back side. It's just, I like that kind of beadlock a lot better. It's simpler. I only got 2 screws in it right now just because I wasn't sure about the foams yet. But I think the foams are going to work out great. And yeah, we'll get back to work. Alright guys, so I'm happy with how that looks. There are a few issues. first thing, I don't have tires for the other side. I decided after I mounted my front driver's side was the worst one I had. It had the worst foam and it was leaning real bad, and there's nothing left of this rubber. It's just yeah. They've exceeded their life expectancy. So I had two that I had bought as spares to carry in the back of the truck. One of them was in my spare tire bin and one was in the back of the Hilux. So I mounted those two up here and put them on one side just to get a taste of the look. And I ordered two more yesterday. So I'm hoping they will be here pretty quickly, because the other ones, they're pretty much the same. I hadn't even taken this one off, but it's just, yeah, they're done. The new ones I took the wheel off the new ones, and yeah, there's still a lot more rubber, a lot more life left in them. And with the new foams, I don't want to put new wheels and foams on clapped out wheel or tires, so went ahead and did that. At least I already had one set. That saved me $25. I have the body mounted on both sides now. A little bit of a gap between the slider, so we may still come back and adjust the bumper and just bring the body back down to where it's supposed to be. I hate to, because A, it's going to help us not have to cut so much of the fenders, and B, it gives us a little more room for electronics, because that floorboard in the interior is pretty low. So yeah, I think the next step is to move on to the electronics. Oh, forgot to say, one issue with these. I had some folks on Facebook talk to me about this as well. The inner beadlock rings on these BoomRacing wheels don't like some tires, and apparently this is one of those cases. These are the ones that come in it. I kept the RC4 wheel drive ones in it. I don't know why, but every time I put these on there and tightened it with the BoomRacing ring, it would bulge out the bead, and I would have to take it all the way apart, try to tuck it back in there. I did that 3 or 4 times, and it just dawned on me, these feel a little different. They are just slightly larger diameter and just a little bit more narrow. I don't know if the narrow really helps, but the larger diameter does. And it allowed me to put the tire on the wheel, and it doesn't, they're not moving around in there. They're nice and tight, and the bead stays put when you pull on it. These tires are super soft, so I didn't pull on it terribly hard because I didn't want to rip them. But I think it's going to do the job just fine. We'll find out once we get it out and driving if it's going to be an issue, and we may have to readdress that later, but I think we're going to be okay with that. Again, these are just the standard rings out of the RC4wd 155 wagon wheels. They come on every Trailfinder 2 new. And they're probably, I would say, 1 millimeter larger diameter than the ones on the BoomRacing, and about 1 millimeter more narrow. So we'll see if that's the perfect solution to this problem, because apparently I'm not the only one that had it. But yeah, we'll move on to the electronics now. Alright guys, so I think this configuration is going to work. Where's my other batteries? I'm going to test fit the battery in here, make sure I've got just enough. I centered the receiver in the middle. That is pretty much the only room there is on the transmission tunnel and the floorboard. The rest of it, there's maybe a 1/4 inch gap. So no electronics will fit up there. Put the ESC back here on the battery bracket. Got the on-off switch hanging off the edge attached to the ESC. Should be alright. I'm going to test fit the body here. I'm kind of stuck. I'm waiting on the tires, and yeah, that's really it. I need the tires, and we'll put it all together and run it. Oh, I don't have long enough battery wires, or motor wires. So I'm about 1.5 inches too short there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to have to order leads online, because my local hobby shop only sells the bullet connectors for like brushless systems, and they don't have these standard motor wire push connectors. May look at different motors. This is an RC4 drive 35 turn. I think I liked it before in this truck, that's why it was still there. It's a good amount of wheel speed, and worked well for what I like to do. But I don't know. We may just solder on some new connectors. We'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and mount the body up, and yeah, we'll make sure everything clears and fits. Further changes. I had to move it up. The magnet, it has a big piece of metal that mounts on the floorboard of the 4Runner body, just inside the door, and the door has a magnet in it, and it was sitting right here where the ESC was. And it could have worked, but it was on top of the ESC. I didn't want to put that much pressure on it, so found a little space. The floorboard dips down right about here, so I had just enough room to shoehorn it in here. And I think it works out where the battery connector can be right inside the door. So you open the door jamb, unplug the battery, boom, nice and easy. And it made my motor wires work, so it's a win-win-win. We're gonna roll with it. I did have to move the receiver further back. It was hitting something underneath there. It's very tight, but this is gonna work. It's fixed all my problems. If I just had those dang tires in today, I could take it for a drive right now and wrap this video up. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait. And I've got a new issue because we did the body lift. This 4Runner body does not have rear body post. You know, most Trailfinder 2s have body posts that come through the bed, look horrible, terrible design. And they did away with that on here, and it just has a little plastic bump on the bottom that sets on this cross member for your shocks. And now we have about a 1/4 inch gap in there, so we're going to need to put something in there just so the body, we don't want the body to flex a whole lot because this is the only thing that really holds it on. Ours here is going to sit pretty close to the top of the bumper, the grill, and we need that support back there so this stays nice and rigid and doesn't strain and crack the body if we roll it down into a pond at USTE. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to remedy that and get the body mounted up finally, hopefully. I do need to swap that ESC over to LiPo mode too. Or is it already? Nope. It's in nickel metal. So I like these, they're so simple. I never understood all the programming cards and all that stuff with a lot of brushes. So I went and took the running boards off too. This video's kind of been a mess because I was skipping around waiting on parts to show up. I went ahead and also put scale hardware on all of the chassis, and I also, while I had it upside down and the body off still, I widened the fenders. Now one of the issues, there's a couple little parts of this body that don't look fantastic. A-pillars here are a little bulgy, but that's for support because we have opening doors and all that. So no way around that, but the rear fenders as well were a little, it came down here a little bit wider at the back, and then it was kind of funky looking. So I tried to just correct that with the Dremel and smooth them back out, and I made a good bit more room. Really needs some more off the front, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to drive it and see how it does first. So fast forward till tomorrow. I'm waiting on tires. Hopefully they'll be here tomorrow. Got some metal sliders here I can put on my budget TF2, hopefully. So it'll get some upgrades out of this deal. But overall, I'm digging the look. I had this window fall out. I had some issues getting that to stay in. It kept coming loose. Honestly, I may just make some Lexan vent windows and leave the other window open because I like the open interior. I got no back window in it either. But I'm digging it. I'm loving these new tires and wheels. Just need to get the others, and we can take this thing for its first test run. One thing I did want to point out, when I had this setting up on the block, I noticed I've got a fantastic amount of droop in the front. Got almost, probably, I'd say 3/4 inch droop. And that's just, you know, and we still have about that much down travel, so this bad boy should have some pretty scale flex. Couldn't take much more out of the back of the front fender because there's all that glued in support that mounts the door hinges. So there's really only so much you could do. I've glued that so well with, I think I used the plastic weld 2-part epoxy. So I had a lot of material in there so I could grind it out and do all that. If you're looking at widening your fenders on yours, just be careful because you don't want your door hinges to come loose unless you're just doing away with your doors, which I'd like to keep mine. So, fast forward and let's get this thing out on the rocks. Alright guys, that was actually a pretty good shakedown run. I was just kind of testing things. I wasn't really trying to go for a scale course or anything, just really trying to feel out the rig. I'm still getting used to the new controller too, trying to get used to more one-handed driving. That controller, I'm still not sold on that. I like it, I like the feel of it, but I just, that little touchpad thing is kind of a crock. A little disappointed with that, but what can you do? I've already spent the money, so we're just going to have to learn it. Something funny still going on with my radio system. When I got done coming in, it was very slow. Like the speed had slowed down, and I have lost the brake. When I first hooked it all up, I didn't have reverse. So I'm not sure. This might be this. It says 11.1 volts on this little 3-cell, but my charger's reading it at like 12.6, so may have a something wrong with the battery. It may be a little too much voltage for this. I'm not 100% sure. I may go ahead and swap on that 2-cell I've got, charge it up and run it again with 2-cell, see if we get a little more consistent operation out of it. The speed controller is it's warm, but it's not hot. I mean, it's 100 degrees outside, so not bad. So I don't know. The servo is still a little twitchy, but it's not noisy. It's getting the power. It's just a little twitchy. So biggest issue I found is the rear shocks. They are way too soft. I think, judging by the way the axle looks here, I think they about leaked all their fluid out. They feel pretty springy. So it's time to either upgrade or rebuild the rear shocks. The front seemed fine. The front's got pretty good feel to it, but yeah, other than the tires being a little wobbly, I think the shocks are the next thing to go under the knife. But I'm pretty happy with them. It was crawling some pretty steep inclines. It would get a little weak in the rear suspension when you get all that weight up high. Like I said, we did body lift this about 1/4 inch, so we moved our top heavy 4Runner body up, and yeah. But I think I like it. I like the wheels. I love the way these wheels look on there. Just looks fantastic. But yeah, I'm excited. I'll keep tweaking and tuning this thing. All of my emblems, except for this one 4Runner emblem here on the side, have fallen off. I apparently did not use the proper glue for the metal emblems. I picked it up earlier, and the SR5 emblem on the rear just fell off. I think it could have a lot to do with the heat as well, because my workshop here is not air conditioned. It was 100 and a little over 100, and probably hot as that inside today when I got home. So stuff reacts differently to the heat. I did go ahead. I didn't know if I ever mentioned it. I cut out the vent windows. They were a little too wide, and the windows kept falling out of the door because it's so frail. I mean, there's just nothing up there, and the glass was kind of structural, and it kept, part of the glue would break, and then it would just be hanging by like the top of the door frame, and it would just fall out eventually. So I just did away with it. Looks like the windows are open, and unobstructed view of the interior. I like that. I got some more rock rash all over it. This thing is going to look battle proven by the time we get to USTE. But you know, that's what it's for, and I like it. I love my tan, my white. I like this body a whole lot more now. Probably also in the next video with it, we're probably going to have to trim out the rear fenders a little more. I was getting a lot of rubbing, but I'm going to wait and do that once we fix the shocks and see if that, you know, it wasn't just over flexing because the shocks are dry. So lots of things to keep working on, but I really love this rig. This is my oldest Trailfinder 2. Earlier in the video we went and put scale hardware all the way up and down it, and yeah, hope we can keep tweaking it and tuning it. I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and be sure to check out the link below for USTE 2020 in Williston, Florida. I'm going to be teaching a class there. If anybody's interested in signing up, they should have information up here before long. And keep it scale. I'll see y'all in the next video.